Friends, how are you doing? It is Wednesday, and what is it? It's the 19th. March 19th. Yeah, what a day in the market. Just wrapped up the Jerome Powell meeting. I watched most of it. Got some bullet points here for you. And the market's doing okay. The market reacted pretty good to the general news. And really, I mean, obviously, you're already seeing the spin in it right now. Obviously, there's one side of the media that's like, can you believe? And then there's just like, I think for investors right now, they're like, yeah, this was good. And the market's reacting to that. So I think we're seeing like there's definitely this situation of like real news and fake news and just like hype news with this right now. So going into pretty much what Jerome Powell just said, and obviously we're going to talk about stocks, but Jerome pretty much, I mean, it was really more of a boring meeting, which was good. I would rather take boring than him coming out and saying not good stuff. So essentially what they're going to do, central bank keeping interest rates steady, rates, rate cut. He's expecting 2, maybe more this year, but we're still keeping it at 2. Still don't have a date when that's going to happen. Labor market solid, essentially job market okay, inflation okay, but still little not where they want it, obviously. Job report, yes, the job reports, and then the only thing that Jerome Powell was having an issue with, and he didn't say anything terribly negative, everything was essentially positive. He was very happy with where things were. But it was a situation of, he said, we're still watching the tariffs. The tariffs obviously might, probably have a little bit. They don't have the data 100% at this point because it's still so early, but could have caused inflation, but we still don't know. So, but overall, Jerome was pretty, I mean, listen, we've seen Jerome Powell come out here and be like, hey, things are bad. This is not good. We are doing this immediately to change action. So we didn't get that from Jerome Powell. Thank God, because it would have, and they know, obviously, he knows if he had come out here today and said like, we're headed for a recession, things are bad, it would have tanked the market. I mean, he could this one guy could have obliterated the market. So that didn't happen today. The market liked what Jerome Powell says pretty much, and we kept things rolling here. So with that, how are you guys doing? I hope everyone's well. Let's just start with Big Bear here. I don't want to talk about Big Bear too much because I've already talked about Big Bear so much, and I know people do not want to hear me talk about this more. They're like, shut up. But essentially, the news that broke yesterday, with Big Bear coming out and saying, hey, 2022, 2023, in 2024, a little bit of it, some not so good stuff was happening in the accounting department. And it's a lot like Super Micro Computer, what we saw here with them last year. But obviously that's all been cleaned up. And really, I mean, this is a situation where, the past 24 hours, I have obviously been getting all kind of comments. I've read the comments on Stock Twits, Webull, wherever you can read comments, Reddit, and there is definitely a line in the sand right now with investors, and I totally get it. If people aren't with this anymore, man, I get it. Like, I'm not here saying, like, do what you want to do, obviously. I think we all took profit back, a moment ago, and people been taking profit. I mean, people took profit last week when this thing shot back up to, $3.51 because the thing plummeted the prior week, and then I know you guys were buying in, selling, so people have been making money off the stock, obviously. And the stock ended above $3 today, so it's still holding this pretty. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I was expecting Big Bear to go to like 250 here, so I'm more of like in a situation of where I'm like shocked that Big Bear is holding this $3 position, because I said this 3 months ago. I was like, listen, Big Bear is going to be a very volatile stock to hold, very volatile. Now, obviously, we were not expecting this news to come out where they were like, there's been some accounting issues in the past. Now, obviously, we've got the new CEO, Kevin, and man, I don't, obviously Kevin is not watching this video, but if anybody knows Kevin, will you please give an interview? I don't mean like, pen to paper. I'm talking like video, show your face, talk to investors, clean this situation up, make investors feel comfortable with what's going on, explain to them in detail what you're doing, what you think. And of course, Big Bear came out here and said like, hey, this in no way affects our future quarterlies. What we're still on track to make what we're making this year, almost $160 million. And it could be more too, because Big Bear has been acquiring deals, and those deals could keep compounding on top of each other here for the rest of the year. And obviously that's what we're hoping for right now. So it's a situation of where, I like I said, there's a line drawn in the sand with investors where there's people that are just PO'd, which is totally understandable, because this has come out of left field 100%. And we don't need this with Big Bear. Big Bear, it already has some big issues. Big Bear has debt they need to get under control, and they did come out here with these quarterlies they just came out with not long ago. They said, hey, we've been able to pay off more debt. We did a little bit better with quarterlies. All in all, 2024 was a better year than 2023 with Big Bear. So we've been told here, obviously. But I think probably more than likely what's going to happen here, I think they're going to clean this mess up. They're going to present the papers here. Obviously, we're hoping they have to. And then this might just be, dust that settles here sooner than later. And the thing, too, is I am fully aware that Big Bear can, sink back down to like I said, $250 range, but Big Bear being still in a very meme stock situation, 100% being in a meme stock situation, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of money to be made in meme stocks, but where it's so just tossed around right now. So Big Bear could easily sink down more tomorrow depending on where this market goes, and the market should do okay the rest of the week, because this was kind of like a stabilizer, what we had today with Jerome. And Big Bear from that, could rise back up into this $3.50 zone. It could. So it's just, I think this is what it's going to be here. This is what it's going to be here for the moment. And Big Bear is still in a situation where Big Bear could, what obviously the main thing we're looking for as investors are wanting right now is more deals. The biggest prayer that Big Bear could get right now is that it gets another big government contract, or just some kind of contract with some kind of company, something to where they can release it publicly, press it, and get investors more comfortable with what's going on here with earnings. Because what's the main thing you're looking for when you're investing in a company? You want that company to be making money, to be meeting quarterlies, beating the expectation, have cash on hand, be debt free, and these are things that we're looking for with Big Bear. But it's still, man, still very, very in this very baby stage right now with where Big Bear can be here in the next year, 2 years. It's gonna be a wild ride. There's no guarantees with Big Bear. There's just not. And it's like I said 2-3 months ago, it's gonna be a violent ride with Big Bear, 100%. Obviously, this was out of left field. These are things we do not want to see. But if they can get this cleaned up ASAP, no one will remember this next week. I mean, it'll just be dust, underneath the rug. No one's going to remember it, and they're never going to see it again, and it'll never be talked about again. So, watching Big Bear here, friends. If Big Bear can hold this $3 range into a $4 range here, I'm happy as can be. My main thing, what I want to see with Big Bear here, I want to see if they can get more government contracts, deals in general, and can they start to see these deals start to compound on top of each other to where maybe by the end of this year, maybe they beat the expectation of what they're supposed to make. Maybe they make 160, maybe we're pushing here quite a bit at the moment, 170 million in revenue. I don't know, maybe that's pushing it at this point, but there's still a lot of year left to go here. In SoFi today, SoFi is doing great. SoFi, I still think that SoFi is going to be, listen, where I'm at. I'm drinking the juice on SoFi. I'm not going to come on here and say bad things. SoFi is not a sexy stock, and that's just the way it is. It's not a sexy stock. It's not a stock where people stay in it for long. They don't. They just don't. I mean, I have friends that were in SoFi months ago, and I was like, we just had a conversation, and I was like, how's your, you're still holding SoFi? And they're like, no, actually I sold it, man. I put it somewhere else. It's just because people, listen, the hardest thing that investors can do, the biggest thing that investors fight with is time, patience. That is the number one thing I see and I'm talking to myself too, that you see in investing world. It's people putting money into an investment and just letting it grow, and not taking the bait early. Now, obviously, there is a double-sided edged sword to this situation here with SoFi. I am fully aware that if we do see a recession, huge pullback in the market economy, SoFi will get creamed. It will go probably back down to like $8, $7, 100%. Now, obviously, I will be buying more, but because I believe in the longevity of what SoFi is going to offer. With that too, the main thing right now in the market for like the next 2 weeks, there's really no concerns in the market for the next 2 weeks. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's going to be things that come up. There's going to be the whole Putin situation. What's going on over there? There's missiles here or there being dropped. The war word is never good for the market. Now, and who knows what's going to come up here. But the main thing that we do know that is coming up here in the next 2 weeks, it's going to be the second round of tariffs here on April 2nd. Now, obviously, with the market reacting how it did to the first wave of tariffs, it could just be another bloodbath in the market. I don't know. The market is such on a teeter-totter. I mean, the market is walking on eggshells right now. But with that too, until this market stabilizes and we see probably more rate cuts, and two, in May, SoFi will be having their quarterly, along with a lot of other big companies. SoFi is probably going to teeter-totter here around this low 11, maybe $13 range. We could see tomorrow, maybe by Friday, if the market continues to feel comfortable here, maybe. But there is no way that I am doubting what SoFi has going on here. They just captured that huge big deal. They've captured back, what was it, October? They got that other big $1 billion investment. Now they just had this $5 billion one. The credit card deal last year, the last two quarterlies have been huge. The last quarterly, the biggest they've ever had. Their growth, how they're growing. There's more good going on with SoFi than there is bad. Now, obviously, like I said, if there is a pullback in the market, recession-wise, something terrible happens, then yes, banks in general, SoFi being with the bank system, obviously, because that's the bread and butter of what it is, it will take a hit. It will take a big Tyson hit to the face, 100%. So, friends, I still think this is buying season. This is just, the market's either going to do one or two things here, and we'll probably know more here by summer. If we can get through May, June here, I think we'll have more of an understanding of what these tariffs have done, what they're going to do, what they could do, might, who knows. Is that the market somewhere in the next 4 or 5 months, maybe sooner, we're hoping, will find a new leg to stand on. It will find that old leg to stand on something, to where it feels more comfortable. But until we get to that point, it's gonna be a season of just uncertainty. The market's still scared. Investors are still scared. I have a friend who pulled out of the market 100%. They're just like, I am too scared. And this person has a history of doing this too, so they're not the best reference, but they're more of a day trader than anything. But and that's fine. Like, I totally get that. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not sitting here judging people by any means. Make your money how you want to make your money in the market. Day trade, short sell. I mean, I do short sales too. I'll buy something on a Monday and sell it the next Wednesday. If you see a play it. Yeah, I think we're all just waiting to see what these tariffs are going to do. Listen, these tariffs, how aggressive they are, and this is not me trying to talk about politics. I'm just saying they're aggressive. So this is something our fathers, our grandfathers have never dealt with when it comes to the stock market investing. If you come from a history of families that, a family that invest and they've been in the market, this is something that, they've never really went through with this aggressive of tariff situation. And of course, there's a lot of things that we're dealing with now that, we're dealing with news every single moment of the day that could sink the market too. So, when it comes to SoFi, there's really no reason to look at a chart right now. SoFi is teeter-tottering around this, 11, maybe $13 range a day, but 12 in the middle especially. So anything under $14, $15 right now, I have started a new position in SoFi 100%, because I believe the next 5 to 10 years of SoFi, I'm going to look back on this time right now and I'm going to go, thank God I kept pushing money into that stock, because I'm telling you, I think SoFi is going to get into a situation, I said this a day or so ago, where SoFi becomes the aggressor, where SoFi becomes the dominant bank, where it starts buying up other banks, where we see it starts to buy up little banks that we've never heard of. Then SoFi quarter 5 years from now gets it. Maybe we're in a situation where SoFi is making $5 to $10 billion a quarterly. Okay, now obviously that is a huge aggressive movement right now, but there is a situation with their growth that continues to grow like this. We could be in a conversation like that 5-10 years from now, obviously, and there will be things that come with that. We could be talking about dividends, stock split, a lot of stuff. But I have no doubt that if SoFi continues on this path right now, it's going to be an aggressive, dominant company, to where they start they become vicious, and they start buying up other banks 100%. So yeah, and two, being put in heavy ETFs, like heavy ETFs, which will just continue to throw money into them 100%. And more than likely, I think this is coming regardless, but I think within the next handful of years, SoFi will be implemented into the S&P 500 100%. You're going to see something like that. And then Palantir, there's not a lot of new news with Palantir. Essentially what we're doing right now with Palantir, Alex Karp, God bless him, he keeps giving interviews, and Alex Karp, I swear, when he gives interviews, it's such a great thing for the stock, because it just makes investors, I'm telling you, I've said this from day one, it's so good when the CEO comes out and talks. And a lot of times, Alex Karp is famous for just he gives these interviews, but sometimes he'll talk about Palantir for maybe 2 sentences, and then he'll just go off on AI in general, overseas AI, all that kind of stuff. So sometimes it's just the general sense of him being out there, him talking about the market, him showing his face and giving the conversation that he's aware of what's going on, he's watching, we see him, and it makes investors feel comfortable 100%. I mean, it 100%, it just makes them feel comfortable. But undoubtedly, Palantir is in this situation right now where it is teeter-tottering around this $80 zone to this almost $87 zone, and there's such a wall right now at this $80 position, where even when we saw the market really dip here just days ago, last week, Palantir never went past $78. It didn't even hit 70. I think it hit 79 some change. So there's a wall right there with Palantir. 100%, there's a wall. Now if that wall gets broke, something in the market has happened, something terrible has happened at that point. So yeah, it's really interesting to watch what's going on. I'm just such a nerd of the market and watching what's happening here. I love the market. I think it's the most fascinating thing man has ever made. And to watch it daily, it's like the days of our lives. It's just a soap opera every day that you get to make money off of, put money in, invest your money, time, places. And if you do it right, you'll be rewarded. Sometimes you hit big rewards. But, it's such just a wild thing to be a part of, this market, and watch it. It's so crazy. Friends, I hope everyone had a good day. I hope you continue to have a good day. I really do appreciate everyone watching me yap here in my mouth about a stock market. And friends, take care of yourself. I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.